Good morning, students. Today I'll explain A Casuarina Tree by Toru Dutt. Now, the title implies that this tree belonged not only to Toru but others too. Others means Aru and Abju, Toru Dutt's siblings, who died of consumption quite early at the age. So, in their memory, Toru Dutt has written this poem. So, it is autobiographical in nature and it was included in the collection Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan. Even this collection was published posthumously due to Toru's death. So, even Toru Dutt died at the age of 21. So, after her death, her father has published this collection, and in this collection, a present poem, A Casuarina Tree, was published. Now, this poem is divided into 5 stanzas, and these stanzas are further comprise of 11 lines. In this poem, Toru Dutt has glorified the majestic casuarina tree, which stands gallantly in her garden. It, the tree, reminds her of the happy childhood when she used to play with her siblings under its shade. Now, when she look at the tree, it makes her nostalgic. Now, to start the poem, she says, like a huge python winding round and round the rugged trunk, indented deep with scars, up to its very summit, near the stars, a creeper climbs, in whose embraces bound no other tree could live. So in this first stanza, this is not the whole stanza. I have divided this stanza into two slides. This is the first part of the first stanza, and the remaining part I have mentioned in the next slide. Okay, so we'll start with the first part. So here, huge python snake को बोलते हैं, अजगर को. Winding round and round. Winding means to coil, to curl, घुमावदार जिसे बोलते हैं हम. रगड बोलते हैं, रगड ट्रंक, ट्रंक होती है स्टेम, तने को बोलते हैं. रगड होता है रफ. इंडेंटेड डीप विद स्कार्स, जो सेकेंड लाइन है, इंडेंटेड बोलते हैं कटआउट को. अप टू इट्स वेरी समिट, जो थर्ड लाइन में समिट है, इसका मतलब समिट बोलते हैं टॉप मोस्ट पॉइंट को. क्रीपर बोलते हैं बेल को. सो इन दिस फर्स्ट स्टैंजा, तोरू हैज कंपेयर्ड द क्रीपर विद द पाइथन. सिमिली का यूज किया है. नाउ द पाइथन यूजुअली इट कॉइल्स अराउंड इट्स प्रे. सो सिमिलरली द क्रीपर हैज ऑल्सो कॉइल्ड around the stem of casuarina tree. Now, the only difference between a python and a creeper is that this creeper has not caused any harm to the tree. Now, in the next line, she explains that the stem of the tree is rugged. It is rough. जो तना है इस ट्री का, कैजुरिना ट्री का, वो रफ है. इंडेंटेड डीप विथ स्कार्स, और इस तने पे खूब सारे स्कार्स हैं. ये तना जो है वो कटा हुआ है. मे बी because of the creeper, or maybe due to other reasons, but the stem is definitely not smooth. As you can notice in the picture, you can clearly see that this creeper, it has coiled around the tree, and even the trunk, even the stem of this tree is not smooth. You can notice that the stem is something rough. So she has, in the third line, Toru Dutt has used the literary device hyperbole. Now, hyperbole is to exaggerate something. Exaggerate मतलब बढ़ा चढ़ा के किसी चीज़ को बोलना. So third line में ऐसा क्या बोला है तोरू दत्त ने? She says up to its very summit near the stars. अब जो कैजुरिना ट्री का जो स्टेम है वो इतना लंबा है, ऐसा लग रहा है मानो कि ये स्टार्स को छू रहा हो. So clearly it is she has used hyperbole, and she is explaining that the height of the tree, she says that this tree is so long that it appears to touch the sky, to reach up to the stars. A creeper climbs, in whose embrace is bound, no other tree could live. So a creeper climbs. So she says then this creeper it climbs around the trunk of this tree, and this creeper actually it is so parasitical that it can even destroy or cause harm to any other tree. But Casuarina is not affected at all. It stands bravely, it stands majestically in the garden. No other tree could live. In whose embrace is bound, no other tree could live. So Torudat says that this creeper is so parasitical, its hold is so strong that it can even destroy other tree. But this brave, this bold Casuarina is not at all affected by it. But gallantly, the giant wears the scarf, and flowers are hung in crimson clusters. All the boughs among whereon all day are gathered, bird and bee, and often at nights the garden overflows with one sweet song that seems to have no close, sung darkling from our tree while men repose. गैलेंटली बोलते हैं ब्रेवली को. जाइंट यहाँ पे यूज हुआ है कैजुरीना ट्री के लिए. वेयर्स द स्कार्फ. क्रिम्सन बोलते हैं डार्क रेड कलर को. क्लस्टर यू ऑल नो क्लस्टर बोलते हैं बंच को. और जो लास्ट लाइन में रिपोज वर्ड यूज हुआ है, रिपोज बोलते हैं स्लीप को, सोना जिसे बोलते हैं. सो इन दीज लाइन्स Torudat, she has drawn a picturesque imagery of the beauty of the tree. She mentions that the flowers blooms on its branches, and these flowers they again attract the bees and the birds. During night, these birds and bees transform the garden with their sweet melodious song, and they make it musical. So it appears to have no closure. Torudat is actually delighted to hear the song at night when the whole world lay asleep. So Torudat in a way is mesmerized by the beauty of her garden, particularly this tree, and she finds happiness and solace while looking at it. Okay, so this was your first stanza, and in it, she talks about the magnificence, about the grandeur of this giant tree, which is center of attraction for all creatures, be it humans, be it birds or bees. Okay, I think it is clear. uh, again I'll try to explain this in Hindi, the whole stanza. The first stanza में सबसे पहले पाइथन का कंपैरिजन हुआ है क्रीपर्स. क्रीपर बोलते हैं बेल को. तो ये जो ट्री है, इस ट्री के चारों तरफ जो क्रीपर है, जो बेल है, वो चारों तरफ इसे घेरे हुए है इस ट्री को. इस ट्री का जो तना है, जो इसका ट्रंक है, वो रफ है, स्मूथ नहीं है, इस पे बहुत से स्कार्स हो रखे हैं. और ये ट्री, इसकी हाइट इतनी ज़्यादा है जैसे लग रहा हो कि ये स्टार्स को टच कर रहा है. और ये जो क्रीपर है वो इतनी मजबूत है, इसका जो होल्ड है वो इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग है कि कोई भी अगर दूसरा ट्री होता तो वो डेफिनेटली सरवाइव नहीं कर पाता. लेकिन जो कैजुरिना ट्री है, बट गैलेंटली शी सेज, गैलेंटली द जाइंट वेयर्स द स्कार्फ. शी सेज कि जो ये ट्री है, कैजुरिना ट्री है, वो ब्रेवली, बोल्डली इस क्रीपर को होल्ड करके रख रखा है. और ऐसा लग रहा है मानो इस कैजुरिना ट्री ने इस क्रीपर रूपी एक स्कार्फ पहन रखा हो. और इसकी जो ब्रांचेस हैं उन पर से जो फ्लावर्स हैं वो इवन फ्लावर्स जो है डार्क रेड कलर के जो फ्लावर्स हैं वो लगे हुए हैं. और ये जो फ्लावर्स हैं वो अगेन बर्ड्स को और बीज को अट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं. सो शी सेज, शी हैज़ ब्यूटिफुली डिस्क्राइब दिस होल स्टैंजा. Now, the second stanza is, when first my casement is wide open thrown, at dawn my eyes delighted on it rest. Sometimes, and most in winter, On its crest, a grey baboon sits statue like alone, watching the sunrise, while on lower boughs, his puny offsprings leap about and play. केसमेंट बोलते हैं विंडो को. ओके, थर्ड लाइन में जो क्रेस्ट यूज हुआ है उसका मतलब है टॉप मोस्ट पार्ट. बेबून, यू ऑल नो बेबून इज अ मंकी वॉचिंग द सनराइज एंड हिज प्यूनी ऑफस्प्रिंग. प्यूनी ऑफस्प्रिंग बोला गया है हिज लिटिल किड्स के हिज लिटिल वंस. लीप को बोलते हैं जंप को. So, in this next stanza, Torudat says that in morning, when she opens her window and when she look at the tree, when she look at the grandeur and beauty of the tree, it makes her happy. She is enlightened to look at the tree in the morning. So I become happy. She says I become happy while looking at it. She goes on to describe that during winter, a grey monkey sits on the topmost branch of the tree watching sunrise. So it appears as if the monkey is actually greeting the morning, it is welcoming the morning in a state of trance. Trance bolte hain, like Torudat has used this grey monkey, it sits statue like. Okay, so it's not moving, it appears as if the monkey is welcoming or it is greeting the morning. And on the lower branches of the tree, the puny offsprings or the little ones of the monkey, they jump and they play. I think it's clear. And far and near, kokilas hail the day, and to their pastures went our sleepy cows. And in the shadow, on the broad tank cast by that hoar tree, so beautiful and vast, the water lilies spring like snow and mast. कोकिलास यू ऑल नो, कोयल को बोला गया है. हेल बोलते हैं टू वेलकम. पैस्चर बोलते हैं ग्रास लैंड को, चारागाह जिन्हें बोलते हैं. वेंड बोला गया है टू मूव स्लोली. एंड द लास्ट लाइन एनमास्ट बोला गया है गैदर्ड को. ठीक है, गैदर्ड को हम लोग बोलते हैं एनमास्ट. सो now, along with this baboon, even kokilas, even the koyals, even they welcome the day with their melodious song. And in the next line, she describes that the sleepy cows, they move slowly. So in the morning, what these all are activities. What happens around the tree? A grey baboon welcomes the morning. His tiny, his puny offsprings, they jump, they play on the lower branches. Next, even the kokilas welcome the morning. And what else happens in the morning is that these cows, they move slowly to their grasslands. So Toruda tells that under the shade of the tree there is also a broad tank, okay, into which white lilies spring, white lilies bloom, okay, and these lily appears as if snow has gathered in the tank. Okay, सो सेकेंड स्टैंजा में तोरुदत्त ने बोला है कि जब वो मॉर्निंग में अपनी खिड़की को खोलती है तो कैजुरिना ट्री को देखकर मॉर्निंग में उसे बहुत खुशी मिलती है और कहती है कि बेसिकली विंटर्स में इस ट्री की क्रेस्ट पे या इस ट्री के टॉप मोस्ट जो ब्रांच है उस पर एक ग्रे बेबून, एक मंकी जो है वो बैठा रहता है और ऐसा लगता है कि जो मंकी है वो सनराइज को देख रहा हो और मॉर्निंग को वेलकम कर रहा हो. और जो नीचे की ब्रांचेस हैं उस पे उसके जो लिटिल वंस हैं, उसके जो छोटे बच्चे हैं वो जंप करते हैं और वो जंप करते हैं एंड दे प्ले. इसके अलावा जो कोयल है वो दिन को, मॉर्निंग को वेलकम करती है एंड टू देयर pastures went are sleepy cows. एंड इन द लास्ट इमेज जो है वो वाटर लिलीज के, जो कैजुरिना ट्री है इसके पास में एक टैंक में वाइट लिलीज जो हैं वो खिल रहे हैं, वाइट लिलीज ब्लूम हो रहे हैं और इन लिलीज को देख के ऐसा लग रहा है मानो कि बर्फ़ जो है वो इकट्ठी हो गई हो. आई थिंक नाउ इट्स क्लियर टू यू. So this was your second stanza. Now this is the third one, third stanza. But not because of its magnificence, dear is the casuarina to my soul. Beneath it we have played, though years may roll. O sweet companions, loved with love intense, for your sake shall the tree be ever dear. So, in the third stanza, Torudat states the reason, the actual reason behind her love for this tree. So, she says that not because of its magnificence, it is not because of the grandeur, it is not because of the beauty that she loves the tree. In the previous stanza, she has already mentioned its kingly status and its lifelike characteristics. She says that the tree was filled with birds and bees, it was filled with the songs of birds, with the songs of bees. She even says that the tree will be always close to her heart, not because of its majesty, but because of the happy days spent under its shade. She says, beneath it, we have played Toru and her siblings. So, under its shade, Toru Dutt used to play with her siblings, though years may roll. She says that now, maybe it's okay. They have passed now, though it has been many years, though the time have passed, but still I miss them. She says that I miss my brother and sister very much. Now she is reminded of her siblings, Aru and Abju, with whom she used to play. So it is because of these memories that the tree will always be there and it will be always close to her heart. Now, she calls her siblings as sweet companions. Oh, sweet companions, loved with love intense. She says to her siblings were dear to her. She loved them more than her life. Okay, so for your sake, it is because of their memories that the tree will be always dear, that the tree will be always close to her heart. Blent with your images, it shall arise in memory till the hot tears blind mine eyes. What is that dirge like murmur that I hear, like the sea breaking on a shingle beach? It is the tree's lament and airy speech that haply to the unknown land may reach. डर्ज बोलते हैं मोर्निंग साउंड को ओके शिंगल बीच बोलते हैं इट इज़ अ सॉर्ट ऑफ इट इज़ अ काइंड ऑफ बीच विच इज़ फॉर्म्ड ऑफ पेबल्स इरी बोलते हैं स्ट्रेंज मिस्टीरियस को और हैप्पली बोलते हैं बाय चांस को ओके सो with these lines, it is clear that she definitely miss them a lot, and it is because of them, it is because of Aru and Abju that the tree will always hold a special position. She remembers them intensely, and although she says many years have passed, but their memories is still fresh in her mind, and it almost makes her cry. So she says that even the tree mourns the death of Aru and Abju. Even the tree is here lamenting the loss of the siblings. Now she compares the mourning sound of tree to that of sea waves breaking on a beach formed of pebbles, and she imagines that the tree's lament may reach to the land where they both are now. So she says that even the tree is here lamenting, and even the tree wishes that this lament may reach to the land, may reach to that mysterious land where the dead, where all the dead depart. So, in this stanza, not only Toru but the tree itself is seen to be mourning the loss. Uh, so, in this lecture, in this session, I've explained three stanzas to you. I think they are clear. In my next session, I'll explain remaining two stanzas. I've already told that this poem has been divided into five stanzas. So, three stanzas we have done today, and the remaining stanzas, remaining two stanzas, I'll explain in my next lecture. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.